The main story is about a woman who befriends a group of teenagers through buying them liquor and throwing them parties at her house in an effort to, I guess, relive her childhood and, in a way, get revenge for the childhood that she didn't have. So it's really interesting. It's super dark and creepy, but it's also fun. It's like really driven by Sue-Ann's emotions and all these things that happened to her as a kid and how she's now dealing with this as an adult. And I think it's so interesting. Like, I'm having such a great time like watching Octavia like be so crazy but like awesome. So I think that's what makes it different. Juliette Lewis is playing Erica, Maggie's mom, and she is so awesome. I had a couple scenes with her in the house, in the Thompson house, and yeah, she's just so great. Like, watching her work, she has like a very specific way of doing things. It's all very like technical in her head, which is a different way than I like approach acting usually. So it's like it's really cool to just like hear her talk to Tate, our director, about, you know, her motivations and everything like that, and then just like watching her like be so free in the work. And yeah, she's really fun, and I'm super happy that I got to have a couple scenes with her in the movie.
This is different. First off, it's a female. Second of all, she's doing a lot of crazy. It's not like she's kidnapping or or anything like that. She's really just like inviting almost. It's almost like it's friendly until she turns and switches and you know, does all the things that she ends up doing in the movie, which is like, to me, it caught me off guard. It's really like, it's really not like you can see it coming, you know? It's more like, it's not like a thriller that you can predict. It's a thriller that just stuff happens, and it's like, I mean, that could happen in real life. So it's scary at a point. Oh, it's lit, cause Ma always got the best stuff. She always got the best drinks, you know what I'm saying? She always supply us with the best, you know, the best of the best, you know? Beer pong table, you know, like stuff like that. And she makes her house really inviting. She comes off really friendly. You know, she's always saying sorry when she acts out of character. So you really don't know if you can trust her 100%, but she's giving you free stuff. So it's kind of like, you know, in the movie world, it's kind of like, oh, free stuff, let's go to her house. You know what I'm saying? But you wouldn't do that in real life, you know? But, you know, it's someone, you know, shit, I have free shit in my house, you know what I'm saying? Look, you want to go party? Let's party. Since there's no party, let's party at her house. She makes it safe. She makes it like a safe space. She is killing this character. Oh, you just, the face change, like when you see it, some of the things that she doesn't, like, it just scares me in real life. Like, I just get chills down my back. She's just amazing. So, you know, just to see those things, I'm learning a lot from her. She's an amazing actress, and I'm just blessed to be here.
So Tate Taylor's directing this film, and he is amazing, honestly. He makes the set so comfortable. Everyone is welcome. The energy is always positive, and he allows us to work a lot with the script, and it's, for an actor to have so much freedom is really nice because, you know, it takes off the pressure, and it allows us to play. And I think that's the most important thing as actors, is being able to, you know, play on set, and he's open to that, and your opinion matters, and he's got such great instincts, and he trusts our instincts. So I mean, honestly, I really hope I get to work with him again. Octavia Spencer plays Sue-Ann, and she is so phenomenal. I mean, it's so lovely to work with such a brilliant actress that isn't like always in character. You know what I mean? I mean, she can, once we call cut, she can like be a person and be herself, and she's so welcoming and like so cool and so talented. The fact that she can just turn on is really amazing, and the way she like prepares even from our emotional scenes is really fun to watch, and just kind of like from afar and admire her. And I feel like I'm in a different kind of school right now. Like, I'm just learning, absorbing so much every day. I like the fact that we're far away from home and we're so removed from like too many things to do, because it really has forced us to be a family, get to know everyone on the production, get to know the locals. It's like you really are, you're just with these people for a month, and you grow such a great bond and a relationship, and you're not even thinking about home, wherever that is. You're just so invested in the group and in the place. I don't know, I think it's the adrenaline and the suspense you feel, and like being so awake, being kept on your toes. I mean, there's never a dull moment. You know, you're always waiting for something to happen. And the thing about like a really good thriller keeps you locked in, but not to the point where you're so scared you want to close your eyes, you know? And I think with this one, I think because it starts off so kind of like funny and nice, and then it just like totally twists on us, it's gonna be really, really fun to see how an audience reacts to that.
We think it's cool because it's like, we got a hangout spot, we got somewhere to drink, where no one's gonna get in trouble, the cops aren't gonna come. So we're super happy and excited, and she starts throwing parties, and we're like, oh my God, and they're crazy. They're not like lame parties there. Everyone's there, it's fun, like we run the show. So that's why we're like, this is great. This is what we're gonna do from now on. And we don't think it's weird at first. We're just like, yeah, she's just like an older woman, and it's just maybe she's got that mom character. Her, like, they don't want to be out drinking at night and driving, so they should come to the house. So we don't see anything wrong with it. And then quickly we start seeing some weird things, so we back off, and we always find our way back to Ma's though. Whatever happens, we always find our way back there, because those nights in high school where you're like, there's nothing going on, I guess we go to Ma's, you know? Octavia Spencer plays Sue Ann, and she is the best. She's so funny. And with this character, she's not a comedic character, but there's just something about her that's like so intriguing and charming, and she's just so inspiring to watch. And every time I'm in a scene with her, I'm like, it's amazing. So, and I never even think about it afterwards. I'm like, oh, we're in a scene. I'm out of it now, you know? So she's amazing to work with. Yeah, it's just been a blast, yeah. With Tate, he knows what he wants with every scene, and he makes it happen, regardless of what we have to do. So, and there's a lot of, you know, because it's 3 guys and 2 girls, and there's a lot of chaos, it's 5 people. So in every scene, he's like, find the camaraderie between each other. Like, don't worry so much about the lines, but worry more about each other. So, which has been great, because you can add in whatever you want and make it your own, which is definitely an interesting experience.
I think what made Ma unique for me personally was the wish fulfillment in the movie. Like this idea that you're trying to get beer, which I certainly did when I was underage, and you ask someone to do it. They not only get it for you, they say, come to my house and drink it. I thought that was a great setup for a movie. And then clearly Octavia Spencer, who plays Ma, who's the character who buys the alcohol for them, is not as nice as she appears to be at the beginning of the movie. But I really, really love that setup, and that's what attracted me to the story. Tate is a very talented director, and one of the things he's particularly good at is working with actors. And he has a lot of relationships with actors, and it was his idea. He said, what would you think of casting Octavia Spencer? And we said, we could imagine no better idea. I mean, we were so into that. And so we really, like I said, we really have Tate to thank for reaching out to Octavia. And Octavia, you know, she loved the script, but she obviously would not have done the movie if it weren't for Tate. Juliette Lewis plays Diana Silver's mom, and they have a great chemistry. It really feels like a very real mother-daughter relationship. She's a single mom raising her daughter in this little apartment. She's a waitress trying to make ends meet, and she gets wrapped up in this horrible scheme of Ma's. One of the things that I think is unique about Ma is the story. The story is really unusual. It's a story we haven't ever seen before. It's a character we haven't ever seen before. So one of the things we're always looking for at Blumhouse is how do we scare people or kind of, you know, make them feel uncomfortable in different ways, in ways that we haven't seen before. So what you can expect when you sit down is a great ride, and also a twist, and finally to be very unsettled and very scared.
It's a thriller and it's a horror movie, but at the same time, there's something in this character. There's so much subtext, which is what I think Tate is really good at. And it's also something that, Octavia works hard to bring to her characters. And a lot of the characters that she's given don't have that kind of context, subtext that are, inherent in the character itself. And this was just all subtext. There's so much going on with this character and really great psychological conflicts. And that is something that Tate has really wanted to sink his teeth into with, one of his dearest friends and oldest friends, knowing what she's capable of, knowing where she could bring it. Part of the joy of this scenario is that we've all been in a situation like this. We've all been in scenarios where we've asked people to buy us booze. We've stolen, a joint out of our older brother's, lockbox or whatever. And this scenario is just the same. So it feels very familiar. And each of the characters in their own way represent a different part of I feel like our personalities that drive us to do things and react to things even when we're not really sure why. And I think that's why, each of these actors is kind of pushing their character in a certain direction. And when they come into the fold and Ma has control of the situation, it becomes interesting and dynamic because they're not aware of Sue-Ann's history. I look at Juliette and I think, she's been in so many fantastic movies and has such an original approach to her character work that having her in this movie is we're really lucky to have her. And then watching her on set and working, I feel grateful that what she's bringing to Erica's mother is so grounded and real and takes their relationship to another level, which I think will ultimately resonate and point to some of the great ideas that we were talking about earlier.
This script I found to be really fresh as far as, in the thriller genre. It was really interesting and with themes that I hadn't seen touched on this way before, like kids or being obsessed with social media or bullying and darkness that can ensue in those worlds. So the script I thought was really great. I loved my character, that she was well-rounded and had lots to do. And I love that I was very excited I get to play with Octavia Spencer. This experience has been pretty freaking special because everyone involved just is down to earth. But Octavia, getting to see her flash into darkness, like the scene we just shot, is really exciting. It's fun to play in those elements, and her and I get to spar a little bit, and that's great to do with such a powerhouse as her. I was so surprised and excited and happy to meet and work with Diana Silvers, who's plays my daughter in the movie, Maggie. She's such a special talent, and so this is really neat when you get to see someone new. This is a big role for her, and she's just got a whole lot of magic and a real special presence, and we had a natural chemistry as playing mom and daughter. The story from my perspective is it's me and my daughter, Maggie, played by Diana Silvers. We come to this town to make a new start. And then she gets involved with these kids who are okay, a good group of kids. And they meet Ma, Octavia Spencer's character, who ingratiates herself into their world. Which I loved this element because it's quite sketchy to have an adult wanting to party with teenagers. So my character, we have lots of fun fireworks and drama that ensues because I find this out. Well, it only works if you see yourself somewhere in this. If you see your own young high school experience, or where the grown-ups, the perspective that we're all in, and yeah, just go in the ride of like how dangerous it is when people get too caught up in wanting to be liked. So it's that insecurity spun on its head to where it goes evil. I like that it does a little pinch on that, our culture right now. I'm like, please like me.
It's a woman out for revenge, somebody who hasn't let the past go, something that happened to her, which wasn't a very nice thing when she was in high school, by another group of kids, and it really left its mark on this woman. And she has lived with this bitterness and resentment for a very long time, and she finally finds a way to get her own back. And it's extremely dark how she goes about it. Yeah, it's just been fantastic. Also, just to see Octavia get to play something very different to what she's played before. I think being a supporting actor in a cameo, watching Octavia get her moment to do something really out of character and against the type has been really refreshing. And I think the audience is going to absolutely lap it up. It's quite realistic in a way. There's a lot of reality in an emotional reality, and everything we've felt, we see her feeling, we've probably felt at some point in our lives. So this is quite an interesting thriller, because it's not just a thriller to shock and scare and draw you in. It also, sometimes it actually makes you smile. I think maybe it might even make you laugh at a few times in all the wrong places.
I play Haley. She is one of the first characters that Maggie meets when she enters the new school. Maggie's the new girl in town, and Haley was that before, so they sort of have a little bond and a little connection through that mutual traumatic experience. Haley is like the fun friend that everyone kind of wants to have until they have it, and then they're like, oh, you're like actually a little too fun, a little too crazy. You need to tap the brakes. She's always looking for a party. She's always like looking to have fun and looking for the next thing to entertain her, which is so fun. And she just kind of says whatever's on her mind. She has no filter at all. If she's thinking it, she's gonna say it. If it offends someone, sorry. She's very fun to play. Chaz is sort of the crazy, like really, really out there partier, kind of like the boy version of Haley, but just a little more raunchy, a lot of boy jokes. And Darrell is sort of like the funny one, like kind of the class clown. And Andy is more of like the boy version of Maggie. He's a little more reserved. He's a little more quiet. I think that this like group of friends, they kind of like use Andy because he has a car. He's kind of the only one that drives, which is fine. So that dynamic is super interesting because you have all opposite ends of the spectrum with all of the kids in the friend group. Sue Ann cares. She doesn't really want them to drink and drive. She doesn't want them to get hurt. She doesn't want anything to happen to anybody else outside of the group. So she sort of invites them back to her house and is like, oh, you can come party at my place. It'll be totally safe. I'll keep the keys till I know you're sober, and then you can get home safely. And that was that for a little bit until Sue Ann starts feeding off of the attention and feeling like she's part of the group and part of the young ones, and that need just sort of keeps growing until the group of 5 isn't really enough to fill her anymore. So she starts throwing these elaborate parties and saying, invite all your friends, invite anyone you want, I'll buy alcohol for anybody who wants it. But she keeps coming back to the core 5. For some reason, she needs the validation from the core 5 that she just stops getting because she's crazy. I am so excited for everyone to see her like this. I she's never done anything like this before. And so I think it's gonna be so exciting and leave people so confused because, you know, Tate always says, like, she's always like, oh, this sweet or this, and to see her in this role is gonna be such a shock for a lot of people. And I'm so excited for the reactions. She's incredible and the nicest human. You could not have asked for a better lead. She's fantastic. Sets such a great tone for everyone. Puts everyone in the best mood from the second she shows up.
We all remember trying to get people to buy you beer and to party, and there was always that one person that would do it. And even then, as a 15-year-old, I would think, why did they do this? And when I read the script and it went into the darker side of why she did it, that was it. It's something fresh I'd never seen before, and I think it's something we can all relate to because as kids, we were always looking for that person. Be careful what you wish for. Ma is the story of a group of teenagers, you know, reminiscent of every teenager in every town, every generation, looking for something to do. And this woman who's lonely decides to let them come to her house in secrecy and party in their basement. And there are consequences to doing that. And once you go in that basement, it's going to be hard to leave. I knew how dark of a person Octavia can be. And it was just a perfect timing that she was frustrated with not being offered, she never had a lead role. And this script came across me and it was written for a white woman. And I went to Blumhouse and I said, what if it was Octavia? And they went, you think she would do it? I said, hold on. And I went and called her. She's like, fuck yeah. I'm in. Diana Silvers plays Maggie. I auditioned a lot of girls for this part. I think this was her first real part in a movie, which is just amazing. She had this naturalistic acting style. She just felt like that girl you wanted to be friends with. McKayley Miller is amazing. I think she's the third person I saw for the role, and I called off the search. She's just, again, I love naturalistic actors, and she's just got this spunk and the way she listens to her scene partners. You know this girl. You went to high school with, everybody knows this girl, and she was fantastic. It's just the ultimate form of escapism, and if you have aggressions and somebody represents someone that you may not like in real life, it's kind of fun to see their throat get slit.
I play Sue Ann, also known as Ma. What I like about Sue Ann is she's unassuming when you first meet her, just like everybody else. But the thing about it is you don't know what people are actually going through or have been through. So your encounter with them is based on their life experiences. So you hope that everybody has great life experiences. She comes across these kids outside of a liquor store who ask her to buy them booze. Now, she is a responsible adult, but she was also a teenager once. So, being the fact that she was a teenager once, she obliges them and buys them liquor. That should tell you who Sue Ann is in a nutshell. She's a party animal. Well, Sue Ann was young once, and she knows what it's like to want a safe place for kids to go and party. I mean, she does it out of good intentions, but when you become the belle of the ball, and then the dynamics change, you know, she's much older than these kids, and she wants to party every night, but they have homework and things that they have other lives. And so that rejection snowballs, causes a snowball effect, and Sue Ann really becomes a nightmare. You are going to go in thinking that you know what's going to happen and that you're prepared. So you'll be a lot settled. But then you will start gripping the seat and leaning forward, and the cold chill, the cold sweats and the creepiness you're going to feel after you watch this movie. I think genre fans are in, you guys are in for a wild, wild ride. I'm a huge genre fan, and I love this movie. The fact that this movie is rated R tells you that there are some things that you just won't be able to erase from your mind, and that you better hold on to your hat, because it's going to be a very, very adult, wild ride. It's impossible to predict what Sue Ann's going to do, because she is a regular person when you meet her. She's unassuming, she's kind, she is the average Joe. But that just goes to show you, you never know what people are capable of. And rejection and bullying, it's a powerful, potent combination. Beware, it's a cautionary tale. I've been talking to Tate for a while about the types of roles that I was being offered, and we just made jokes about, you know, possibly doing something completely out of anybody's frame of reference for me. And when he came across this film and took it to Jason Blum, I felt like it was magic in a bottle for me. No one else having seen it or read it or anything. But it wasn't written for me. And Tate changed the narrative to suit me. And I'm very grateful, very grateful.